In the last session, what I told is there are three ways to display what an actual details of an exception. I told about how to write multiple cache blocks, what is the correct way of writing the multiple cache blocks, and what is the wrong way of writing the multiple cache blocks. Okay, that's what we discussed. Okay, that is what we have discussed, right? And also, what I told is there are three ways to display the actual details of an exception. One is called by writing system.out.println. The second way is system.out.println now ex.getMessage. Okay, there is a method called getMessage which will only display the exception message. And if you want to display the complete details of the exception, then you can call print stack trace, which will return us the complete details, like we can come to know about what is the exception class, what is the message, what is the method call stack to get this exception, and also what are the line numbers which are causing this exception. So we can get all these details, right? And for example, this is the example that we got in the previous session. Okay. Now we will continue further. And I told in the last class, like writing cache blocks for specific exceptions, then followed by cache block for exception class is valid. But writing cache block for exception class like this, and then followed by cache blocks for the specific exceptions, this will give you compile time error. The error is called unreachable code. Okay, unreachable cache blocks. That error name is called unreachable cache blocks. If you want to write that, what is that? Unreachable cache blocks. Okay, so this is yesterday we discussed. So today we want to discuss more things on exception handling, and we'll try to discuss what is throws and all. Listen here. So I'm just going to continue in the same document with the today's date. Okay, let's go ahead. Guys, what I'm trying to say now today is, what I like to say today is that suppose we are writing try cache blocks. Let me even start this example as well. Okay, just I'm taking up an example just to tell you that if you look at this, I am writing what try and multiple cache blocks. I told yesterday, yes, we can write one try block. We can add multiple cache blocks to one try block. This is one try block. These are what? Multiple cache blocks. So what we can do, we can write for one try block, we can add multiple cache blocks. That's okay. What to understand is, whenever you are writing a try block, suppose when you are writing a try block, for a try block, you have to add corresponding cache block. Means you cannot write only try block without a cache block. So you can see that you are getting an error at line number 11. And the reason why you are getting error at line number 11 is because try block is there, but there is no corresponding cache block. Okay. Suppose if I write the cache block, you can see that. If I write the cache block here, do you know what happens if I write cache block, guys? Now the error got removed. Okay, how to display this exception with only the class name and exception message? I want only simple details. Then I can add system.out.println of ex. This is the way of displaying the exception details. Okay. Now I got the try block with the cache block. Now error is removed. Now I don't want a cache block here. Then I can add finally block. System.out.println, I am in finally or something like that. This is finally block. If you look at this now, try block is there. Correct? Correct, try block is there. But for the try block, there is no cache block. Instead of cache block, next block, what I'm writing is finally. But in this case also, I'm not getting an error. You can see this code doesn't have an error. So what happens in this case now? Suppose if exception occurs in the try block. but there is no catch block to handle the exception. There is no catch block now. That's why first which block will execute? Finally block will execute, because finally block will execute irrespective of the exceptions. So after executing the finally block, that exception will be propagated to the caller method. Who is the caller method of M1? M1 is the method. Who is the caller of M1 is main. This is the calling point now. The exception will be thrown to the calling point. Exception will be thrown to the calling point. Calling point means line number 23 only, na? Yes. Line number 23 is there in main method. See, is the main method is handling this exception? Is the main method handling the exceptions here by keeping try catch blocks in main method? We are not handling the exception in main method. Then what happens now? Main will propagate this exception to the JVM, JRE or JVM, whatever. Okay, right. So basically understand, if suppose you are not writing the finally, you are not writing the catch block, you are directly writing the finally block without catch block. Then what happens if exception occurs in try block? If exception occurs in try block, what happens? Okay, if exception occurs in try block, the control jumps to the finally block first. There is no catch block, no? That's why it goes to the finally block. After executing the finally block, then the exception will be propagated to the caller method. Who is the caller method of M1? Main. Main. If the caller method is handling the exception with the try catch blocks, the exception will be handled in the caller method. If it is not handling this exception in the caller method, that will propagate it to the JVM. JVM will terminate the program, and also JVM will display some kind of error message. That exception stack trace. Let's see what is happening here. That's all you have to understand here, okay? You can see this. I am getting output as what? Finally block. And also I'm getting exception thread main java.lang. Arithmetic exception divided by 0 something. Main line number 23 class M1 at 6. Line number 6. We are getting these details now. What is happening here? First, exception occurred at line number 6. When exception occurred in line number 6, actually, where does control go generally whenever an exception occurs, guys? Suppose if exception is occurred, where does control go? Actually, the control goes to the catch block, but there is no catch block now. That's why it is directly going to the finally block. It will execute the finally block first. Then this exception will be thrown to the caller. Who is the caller?
Main method.
Main method. For M1, caller is the main method. Is the main method is handling the exception here by keeping try catch blocks of M1? Is this main is handling the exceptions of M1? No. That's why this main will now throw this exception to the JVM. It will throw the exception to the JVM. Okay, na? That's it. What JVM will do now? JVM will terminate the program. JVM will first terminate the execution. After that, it will display the details, exception details. That is called stack trace. That's called stack trace. So what are the important points you understood here? When you're writing try block, for a try block, we must add either a catch block or finally block. Corresponding catch block is required or finally block is required, or both also we can write. If you want to write both, which is the correct order? Try, finally, catch, I want to write. For example, catch, exception, EX. Okay, suppose I'm writing system.out.println catch block. So look at this now. If you look at this now, line number 15 and 16, I'm getting an error. Because you are writing try, finally, then catch. This is the wrong order. What is the order if you want to write try, catch, and finally both? If you want to write for try, you want to write both catch and finally. First catch, then followed by finally. Can I write 2 finally blocks? For example, I'm writing next one more finally block. Finally, system.out.println, another finally. Another finally. Can we add like this?
Yes.
Answer is no. Answer is no. How many finally blocks we can write? Only one final block we can write. See, for example, I'm writing Control X, I'm removing it. This is one finally. In between this, I'm writing that finally also. That finally also. Tell me why I'm getting error at line number 19.
Multiple.
Because I'm writing finally multiple times. So how many finally blocks we can add?
Only one.
Finally block. For a try block, how many finally blocks we can add? Single finally block. For a try block, how many catch blocks we can add? Multiple we can add. And you know which is the proper correct order and which is the wrong order. Okay, that you know yesterday. But how many final blocks we can add? Only one. Can we write the final block directly without catch block? Yes. Yes, we can add. If there is a try block, then tell me for try block a corresponding catch block is required or final block is required. We can add either catch block or final block. If you want both also you can write. But what's the order of writing them? Catch followed by final. Okay. So all these questions I want to give you today. But the first question is, let's write all the questions in red color. What's the question? Question is, can we write? Question is, can we write multiple finally blocks for a try block? For a try block. This is the question, guys. What's the question? Can we write multiple finally blocks for a try block?
No.
Answer is no. Answer is no. Next question. Can we write multiple catch blocks?
Yes, we can.
Catch blocks for a try block is the next question. Answer is yes. Answer is yes. But you know which is the correct order and which is the wrong order. The next question comes in saying that, okay, can we write try block followed by finally block without catch block?
Yes.
Answer is
Yes.
Answer is yes. Answer is yes. Okay. Next question. Next question. Can we write try block followed by catch block without finally block?
Yes.
Without finally block, that is also answer is
Yes.
yes. Yes. Next question is, can we write try block followed by finally block, then followed by catch block,
No.
then followed by catch block? Can we do that?
No.
Answer is no. Answer is no. We cannot write. That's what I told you, right? Order should be try, catch, and finally. Okay, next question. Same, but I'm writing. Can we write try block followed by catch block, then followed by finally block,
Yes.
then followed by finally block? What's the answer?
Yes.
Answer is yes. Answer is yes. Okay, guys. Okay, there are some questions I'm writing here. Okay. Yes, answer is yes. Yes, we can write like this. Next, can I write finally block in between catch blocks? Can we write finally block? Can we write finally block in between two catch blocks?
No.
In between two catch blocks? Answer is
Yes.
answer is no. In between two catch blocks, we cannot write the finally. Finally should be last. Okay. After catches. Suppose you have two catch blocks. Can I write first catch block followed by finally block, then followed by catch block again?
No.
That's called the meaning of in between. So can we do like that in between? Answer is no. We can't do that. Okay. Next. So you got something like this today. Now I will continue further.
Sir, I have one question. Can we write only finally block?
No. We can't write only finally block. For example, let's say there is a method called another method I'm taking, void M2. You want, I'll give that question also. Void M2 is a method.
Okay.
In M2 method, I'm writing finally start, do something, system.out.println, hi, something. Now tell me at line number 24, are you getting an error or not?
Yes.
But here what I am writing, only finally block I am writing. Without to try block, I am writing directly finally. If you want to write the finally block, compulsory which block is required on top?
Try.
Try is required. If there is a try block, then only you can start writing either catch block or finally block or both the blocks.
Okay.
Can we write only try block? No. Can we write only catch block? No. Can we write only finally block? No. Answer is no. Did you get my point?
Yes.
Yeah, got it. So I want to write those questions also better. You asked a question, no? So I'll write. So the question I wanted, can we write only try block without catch block or finally block?
No.
Answer is no. Answer is no. For the next question, can we write? Yeah, can we write only catch block? Can we write only catch block? Answer is
No.
no. Can we write only finally block? Can we write only catch block without try block? I'll write like this better. Without try block, answer is no. Similarly, can we write only finally block
No.
without try block? Again, answer is no. Again, the answer is no. Okay, you got some questions here. Next, we'll continue further. Further, what I want to continue is look at the examples to see. Okay, further, what we want to continue is I'll tell you. There is try block, catch block, final block, we know. Just now I told you what happens if you write only try and finally block without a catch block. Okay, you are writing try finally block without catch block. Then what happens now? If exception occurs in try block, first which block will execute? Finally, because actually whenever exception occurs in try block, control is looking for
Catch or final.
control is next looking for nearest catch block, nearest catch. But there is no catch block, no? That's why next it will execute finally block. After executing the finally block, the control is now
Go to
propagated to the or
Memory.
transferred, whatever may be.
Caller method.
What happens now? This exception will be propagated to the
main method.
caller method. Who is the caller method here? Main. Main method is a caller method, correct? If the caller method is not handling the exception, then it will propagate to the JVM. JVM. Am I clear? See here. Let me tell you. Understand the concepts here. So basically there is try, there is finally, but I don't have any catch. Look at this. Tell me in this code, who is going to finally, first of all, I want to ask a question. Is the caller method is handling the exception? Is the caller method is handling, first of all, question number one, who is the caller method
Main.
of M1? Who is the caller method of M1?
Main.
Main, correct. Next question. Is the caller method handling the exception?
Yes.
Is the caller method is handling the exception here?
Yes. Sir.
No.
Answer is no.
No.
Answer is no.
You try.
How can you say that? How can you say it is handling the exception?
If it is having try catch blocks in
If it is having try catch blocks in the main method, also if you have the try catch blocks for M1, then it is handling the exception. No. Then tell me what this caller method will do next.
move
It
to
will
J.
propagate this exception to the JVM.
JVM.
JVM. What JVM will do?
Display some
JVM will
error.
terminate the program execution and will display the exception stack trace. Exception stack trace. Stack trace means 4 details are there: class name, message, method call stack, line numbers.
Yes.
Very good. Good. See, that's what output you are getting here. Tell me first which block is executed.
Finally block.
Finally block. Actually, when exception occurs in try block, control is looking for nearest catch block. But there is no nearest catch block. That's why control next jumps to
Finally block.
final block. After executing final block, this exception will be propagated to the caller
Main.
method. Caller method. In this case, who is the caller method? Main method. But main method is also not handling the exception of M1 method by using try catch blocks. That's why it is propagated to the JVM. JVM will display the first it will terminate the program and then it will display the exception stack trace. Okay, look at this. Keeping try block here. For try, I am writing catch. Exception EX. System.out.println. Catch block in main method. Main method is a caller method, na?
Yes.
Tell me now, which method I'm calling here? M1.
M1.
This is M1. Suppose if exception occurs in try block, in the try block, inside the try block of M1 method, then tell me first where does control jump?
Go to finally block.
Okay, first it will jump to the final block. Why? Because there is no catch.
Catch block.
After executing final block, next where it will go?
Go to main method.
It will go, the exception is propagated to the caller method. Who is the caller method? Main.
Main method.
In main, this is the statement calling this M1.
Yes.
Is the calling point? Yes.
Yes.
Tell me this calling point I'm keeping in what and what blocks?
Try catch.
Try and catch. Why? Because I want to handle the exceptions
Yes,
if
sir.
thrown from M1. If any exception is propagated or thrown from M1, I want to handle that exception. That's why I'm keeping this in try and catch. Now tell me in this case now, this caller method is handling the exception of M1?
Yes.
Yes. Then tell me what the message printed now if I run this program.
Catch block in main.
Catch
method.
block in main method, but you don't get answer like stack trace of the exception because it is not propagated to the JVM. Here the main method is not propagating this exception to what? Here main method is what? Not propagating the exception to what? JVM. It is not propagating the exception to what? JVM. Am I clear?
No.
Let's run the program, guys. What's the answer? Finally block. Next, catch block in main method. So tell me in this case, is my exception is propagated to the JVM? In this example, is the exception is propagated to the JVM? Answer is no. No. Now who is handling this exception now? Actually exception is occurred in which method?
Main method. Main
M1 method.
M1 method.
Actual exception.
M1 method.
M1 method.
M1 method. But who is handling that exception of M1?
Main method.
Main method. Because main method is the caller method. Main method is the caller method.
Caller method.
Am I clear with you?
Yes.
Okay. I'll write like a question answer then this example also. I'll give this example for you. Question. If we write try block and followed by try block followed by finally block. Finally block. Okay, if you write try block followed by final block without catch block, then what happens? What happens when exception occurs? There's a question now. Then what happens when exception occurs or if exception occurs?
Finally block will be executed.
That's a question. That's a question. What's the answer for this now? We want to know the answer now. What's the answer for this? That is what answer we want, right? What's the answer for this now? Answer. What's the answer for this now?
Yes.
Okay. We can write that is, it is not the question of yes or no because try block, final block, already I told you we can write. No issue.
Yes.
Okay. So what happens now? Suppose if exception occurs in try block. Okay. Then the control first executes which block?
Finally block.
Finally block. Because actually it's searching for nearest
Catch block.
catch block. But since there is no catch block, it will execute
Finally block.
final block. Okay, first I want this point. Suppose, first point. Suppose if an exception, okay, na? If an exception occurs where in, if an exception occurs in try block, the control will search for nearest catch block. Second point. Second point. What's the second point? Just a, second point is what? Because we don't have
catch block.
Yeah, but we don't have catch block. The control
Go to finally block.
executes which block?
Finally block.
Finally block. Third point. Tell me what happens after executing final block. After executing final block,
Go to
now the control.
main method.
Now the control. Otherwise, I can say now the exception is propagated to the means transferred.
Caller
Now the
method.
exception is propagated to the
Caller method.
caller method. Now the exception is propagated to the caller method. Fourth point is what?
Then main method.
Now the exception is propagated to the caller method. So, okay, what's the fourth point now?
The caller method is
If the
main
caller method is also not handling the exception, then
Mm.
if a caller method is handling the exception, okay, then the catch block in caller method. The catch block in which method?
Caller.
Yes, the catch block in caller method. The catch block in caller method will be executed. Fifth point, if not, if a caller method is not handling, then tell me what? If
propagated
the
to
caller method is
JVM.
not handling the exception, then
It is propagated to
it is
main
propagated to the JVM.
JVM.
It is propagated to the JVM. What JVM will do? Sixth point. Sorry. JVM will terminate the program execution and it displays the exception stack trace. Stack trace. This is the answer, guys. Okay. Example. Just I'm copy pasting this example. You practice it. Tell me in this example. Tell me caller method. Who is a caller method? Main method.
Main method.
I'll write here. In this example, caller method is main method. And it is handling the exception. Did you get my point? It is handling the exception. Okay. Here, who is the caller method is main. It is handling the exception. Okay. Hope you guys got it. Okay. So could you tell me what the output of this program first? Finally block. Then next line, catch block in main method. Catch block in main method. Guys, this is the example. Next, we will go further. See guys, There are multiple things are there. So we will understand one after the other and we will try to see what is happening and all. Okay, let's go ahead. Now, I'm writing try block, and for try block, I'm writing finally block. This is all very good. Next question, guys. I'm writing try block. I'm also writing finally block. But after the finally block also, I'm writing one SOP message. Some statements is there after finally. This is after next statement after finally. Okay. Did you get my point, guys? Tell me this statement is inside the finally or next statement after finally block. Line number 14. See the line number 14 and tell me, guys, online folks.
Yeah.
Online folks, could you tell me line number 14 is the next statement? It is inside the finally block or next statement after the finally block?
Next statement.
Next
Next
statement.
statement.
Next
after
statement.
final.
Next statement, because see, finally block is closed at line 13.
Yes.
Finally block is closed at what? Line number 13. Line number 13. Finally block is closed at line number 13. But now we are in line number 14. What's the statement? Next statement after finally block. Question is now, if there is any next statement after the finally block, will it execute or not?
It is good.
If suppose there is an exception occurred in try block, we know first control search for nearest cache block. There is no cache, then it will go to finally block. After finally block also there is some statement. Will the
Yes.
statement execute in my method M1 or not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it will
Okay,
get
yeah.
executed.
Yeah, you can see the output here. Will you get the answer called as next statement after finally block?
No.
No.
Are you seeing answer like that? No. No. Am I clear with you?
Yes.
Yes. Again, see the same answer.
Yeah.
Please
after
understand. Next, I'll tell you. This is 5.0 divided by 0, not 5 divided by 0. This is double. Question, could you tell me, do you find any exception in my try block? I mean, do you think that any exception is going to occur in try block?
No.
No.
Answer is no. Answer is no, right? No exception occur. Then tell me, after executing the try block, next control will next jump to which block?
SOP.
Finally block.
Finally block.
Finally.
Yeah.
It doesn't check.
Finally.
It doesn't check for nearest cache block also. So when control checks for the nearest cache block,
Exception occurs.
if
Exception.
exception occurs, then only. If exception does not occur,
Then
Next
it
finally
will directly jump to the finally block only. Yes. So what's the message printed?
Finally block.
Finally block. Finally block. After executing the finally block, there is one more statement also there.
Yes.
Next
Next
statement after finally block.
block.
See the output now. We are getting first output as infinity. Next output is 50.
50.
Next output is finally block. Next output is what?
Next
Next
statement.
statement after finally block. So question is, if you write any next statement after finally block, will that statement is executed or not is a question.
Yes, sir.
If
But
exception
there are
occurs,
two things. We
not
cannot say directly yes or we can't say directly no, because there is a this question has both answers, dual answer. If there is an exception occurred in try block,
statements will not get executed.
then the statements written after the final block will not be executed. If no exception is occurred in try block,
Statements will be executed.
then the statements written after the final block will be executed. Am I clear with you? Okay,
Yes, sir.
good. So I'm telling many things. Please try to understand. This is not finally block. So I'm just writing now. I'm just going back to my normal, just try, catch, finally, all the three to explain the concept. I'm writing catch also. Here only I'm writing catch, exception EX. Okay, system.out.println of EX. Guys, now this time I have what and what blocks? Try block, catch block, and final block.
Finally.
All the three. Tell me if exception occurs. In this try block, there is no exception, right? Directly control jumps to finally block. But the control doesn't jump to the catch. Only when control jumps to catch block, when the control goes to catch block, if there is an exception occurs in the, try block, then only the control jumps to the
Catch.
block. Otherwise, it will not jump to the catch block. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tell me now directly, if there is no exception in try block, where does control go? Control goes to
Next statement. Finally.
no. What is my question? Understand my question. My question is, there is no exception occurred in try block. Then tell me next control goes to dash.
Finally block.
Finally block. Very good. After executing the final block, next what happens?
SOP state.
The next statement will be executed. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, this is int x equal to 5 by 0. 5 divided by 0. Tell me now. Question is no?
No
Do you have
exception
exception here?
occurs. Yes.
Exception occurred na?
Yes.
Yes.
In which block?
Try block.
Try block.
Exception always occurs in
Try block.
try block only. In try block only. If exception occurs in try block, where does control go?
Catch
Catch.
block.
Nearest catch block. There is a catch block here. After
Yes.
catch block, next where does control go?
Finally block.
Finally block. Finally block also. Then tell me the next statement after the finally block will execute or not?
No, it is not executed.
Yeah. See the answer here.
Oh.
Executing or not?
It is executing.
It is executing. So what to understand here?
If finally block is there, then it is going to get executed.
If you, for example, if you are writing a catch block to handle the exception of try block, catch block will handle the exception. After that, control goes to next finally block. Then after that, control automatically jumps to next statement after the finally block.
Yes.
Okay, right? But if you don't write catch block here,
Next statement will not execute.
this next statement will not execute. That's the difference.
Yes,
Okay,
sir, I
anyhow, I would like to write a statement here. A statement or a question, whatever it is. Question is, there are a couple of questions you are getting today. Next question. Question is, the statements after finally block. Okay, it may be after catch block also, don't worry. I mean, compulsory node of writing finally block, no? The statements after finally block. Understand, the statements after final block will execute or not if an exception does not occur in the try block. First I'm asking about does not occur. What is your answer? The statements after the finally block. The statements after the finally block. After the finally block will execute or not if an exception does not occur in the try block.
will execute.
Definitely will execute. Yes, executed. Next question. Same, the statements. Okay, the statements after the finally block will execute or not if an exception occurs. If an exception occurs in the try block.
If catch block is there, then the statements will be executed. If catch block is not there, then the statements will not be executed.
Exactly. So directly we cannot answer like yes or no.
Yeah.
What's the answer? First point of answer. What's the first point of answer? If what? If
Catch block is there.
if catch block exists after the try. After the
Try block.
if a catch block exists after the try block,
Then finally block will be
Then?
executed.
then the catch block will be executed.
Yes.
Okay. Next, what block?
Finally
Fine.
block.
Finally block will be executed,
Then the next statements will be executed.
and also the next statements after the
Finally block will also be
finally block will also be
executed.
executed. Second point is what? If
Catch block
there
does
is
not exist.
if there is no
Catch
there is
block.
no catch block after
Try block.
the try block. Then tell me here story is different now.
Yes.
What happens if there is no catch block after the try block?
Then finally block will be executed.
Then
Finally block
the finally
block will be executed.
the finally block will be executed. Finally block will be executed, but
Statements will not be executed.
the next statements after the finally block will not be executed. So this is the answer for this question, guys. 2 points are there. These are all you have to do practice. Okay, I'm just giving all the possible statements, so it will help you a lot. Next, we are good with whether the next statements are executed or next statements are not executed. These kind of things, we are perfect with that as of now. Am I clear? So that's all good. Next, I will just try to explain more information about the try and catch. Okay. Next thing is, currently we are writing a try block, right? But what we can do is, we can write even a try block inside try block also. Actually, writing a try block inside a try block is called nested try block. What is it? Nested try block. Okay, let's understand about this point called as writing the nested try blocks. We can write a try block in a try block also, guys. If you write a try block inside a try block, it is called nested try block. Like, nested for loop. You can write a for loop inside a for loop. You can write an if statement inside if statement, which is called as nested if statements, nested for loops. Similarly, nested try blocks is also there. Okay, you can able to write the try block inside a try block, which is called as nested try block. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's see. Everyone, just try to understand now. I just want to modify my code saying that this is Control X. This is Control V. Look at this, guys. What I'm doing is, I'm writing one more try block here, and I'm shifting these two statements under nested try block. And for this try block also, I'm writing catch block. Okay, catch, let's say, array index out of bounds exception. and display this exception by writing system.out.println of EX. And here I am writing arithmetic exception. Okay, this is final block. And okay, these statements I want to remove. First of all, am I clear with this case? Did you understood about my nested try
Yes.
block here? It's too simple to know, right? First I have outer try block. Then I have inner try block. This is concept is called, yes, this
Nested.
concept is called nested try blocks. So can we write the nested try blocks means what is your answer, guys?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes, we.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Coming to the point. Tell me, this is the catch block for, this catch is for, this catch is corresponding to the
Inner try
inner
block.
try block or outer try block?
Inner try block.
Inner try
Inner
block.
try block.
Try block.
And this catch is specific to the outer try
Outer
block.
try
Outer
block.
try block.
Understand here, guys. Suppose if there is an exception occurs in inner try block. Okay, if there is an exception occurs in inner try block, that exception can be handled by
Inner catch block.
the inner catch block. Okay, if inner catch block is unable to handle, then that
Outer
exception
catch block.
even could be handled by outer catch block also. For example, guys, tell me here, which type of, do you get any exception in inner try block? Do you get any exception in inner try block currently?
No.
No. Because I'm assigning the value at index 4. Size is 5.
Yes.
Size, if array size is 5, then array indexes are from
0 to 4.
0 to 4. So we don't have any problem. So we can do that, guys. So far, I think you got the concept, right? Everyone?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Am I clear with you guys?
Yes, sir.
Am I good with you? Am I clear with you so far? But if I write ARR of 5 is equal to 50, then
Exception occurs.
Exception.
definitely exception occurs. Which exception occurs here? In this
Array
line, which
index out
exception
of
occurs?
bounds.
Array index.
Index out of bounds.
I'm writing array index out of bounds exception. Am I right, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, array index out of bounds exception will occur here. What is the index here? 5. Okay. Listen here, everybody. Array index out of bounds exception will occur, definitely. That we know. Now I want to tell you. Please understand. Tell me this catch block can handle which exception? This catch block can handle,
Array index out of bounds.
this catch can catch which exception?
Array index.
Array
out of
index
bounds.
out of bounds exception. So it is matching now.
Yes.
Now tell me if the exception occurs in inner try block,
Inner catch block will handle.
then who is going to handle this exception?
Inner catch block.
Inner catch block. Inner catch block. I will do one thing. I'll write SOP statement also. But the SOP statement is inner
Inner
catch.
catch block.
Inner catch block. Now, if I run this program, guys, okay, this is not 5 divided by 0. It is double x is equal to 5.0 by 0. Okay. Run this program. Okay, tell me which catch block is handling the exception? Which catch block? Inner
Inner.
catch block. What is the exception? Array index
Index out of bound.
out of
of
bounds
bounds.
exception. Index 5 out of bounds for the length 5. Something you are getting some message now? Good. Means inner catch block is handling. Then tell me next after that which block is executed?
Finally.
Final.
finally block. That's cool. Can I write finally block for inner try block also?
Yes.
Yes.
Can I write finally
Yes.
system.out.println inner finally,
Yeah, we can write.
inner finally block? Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
We can write. We can write. Now tell me what's the output here if I run this program.
Also inner finally block.
Inner finally block and
Finally.
Inner
final block.
catch.
Final block means outer, na?
Yeah.
Cool. Understand the concept here, yes. Okay. That's all good. But what I'm trying to say is now, everybody. Here the catch block is not array index of out of bounds exception. It is a null pointer exception. Just for example, what exception?
Null pointer.
Null pointer. Tell me, is the inner catch block can handle this array index out of bounds exception?
No.
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 This catch is catch for
Null pointer.
Null pointer exception.
this is to catch null pointer exception. It is ready to catch null pointer. Did you get my point?
Yes, sir.
But what the real exception occurred or the actual exception?
Array index out
of
of bounds exception.
Array index out of bounds exception. Oh my God. So it cannot handle. Am I clear?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Observe here. I'm writing system.out.println. This is outer catch block. Which block? Outer catch block. Guys, here I am writing one more catch block. Array index out of bounds exception EX. Okay. System.out.println. First, what I want, right? It is inner catch or outer catch?
Outer
System.out.println I can write. ERR.println also I can write. ERR means error. It's just only representation.
Okay.
What is that? Outer catch block.
That's
How to display this exception again? Sys out. Yes. So far, am I good? I have a
Yes.
question to you. Tell me in the inner try block, which exception will occur?
Array index out of
array
bounds.
index.
Array index out of bounds. Tell me first, where does control go?
Go to
Nearest catch block.
Nearest catch. Nearest catch means
Inner
null
catch
pointer.
block.
inner catch. Inner catch. But this catch can only catch what? This catch block can catch
pointer
only which
exception.
exception? Null
Null
pointer.
pointer exception.
Both are not matching, na?
Yes.
Yes.
So if there is an exception occurs in inner try block, okay, that exception can be handled by inner catch block. If inner catch block is not catching it, it can be catched by
Outer catch block.
outer catch block also. Am I clear with you?
Yes, sir.
It can be catched by outer catch block also. Am I clear with you guys?
Yeah,
Did
outer
everyone
catch
understood
block-
this point?
Yes, sir. Outer catch block will be go to the control or finally first of all.
Outer catch block will
Just like I have one question. So
Hmm.
first of all, try block will be not executed. Or
okay.
have any-
Your doubt is whether this inner
Yeah,
finally
final.
will execute or
Yeah,
not,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Okay, I'll show you the output now. It will. See here. Did you get the answer called as inner finally block?
Yes.
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 Inner final block is there or not?
Yes. Yes.
And also final block is there. This final block is which block?
Outer.
Outer.
Yeah.
Okay. Otherwise, I'll write outer final block. That's better. So that people can understand. Am I clear, guys?
Yes.
Okay. If I run this program, okay, tell me inner final block is executed.
Yes.
Next, which block executed?
Outer catch block.
Outer catch block, not inner catch block. It is outer catch block. Why? Sorry, this outer catch block. Why? Because inner catch block is unable to handle the exception.
Exception.
If it is unable to handle the exception, then who can handle it?
Outer catch block.
Outer catch block can handle it. Am I clear with you?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no, guys? Remaining
Yes.
folks, did you get the point? Did you get the point?
Yes.
Everyone? Cool. Cool. What I'm trying to say, if there is an exception occurs in inner try block, okay, that exception can be handled by inner cache block. If inner cache block is unable to handle the exception, then
Outer catch block.
outer
cache.
cache block can
Handle.
handle.
That-
So if an exception occurs in inner try block, that exception can be handled by either inner cache block or outer cache block. Anyone. If exception occurs in outer try block, suppose if exception occurs in the
Outer cache
outer
block
try
will-
block.
Outer cache block will handle.
If exception occurs in outer try block, only who can handle that exception?
Outer cache block.
Outer cache block. Inner cache block cannot handle it. Did you got the difference now?
Yes, sir.
Did you got the difference, guys, everyone? So which concept I'm talking is, I'm talking about which concept? Nested try blocks. This is a concept I'm talking. Guys, this is a topic I'm talking about. What's the topic name? Nested try blocks. Nested try blocks. I'm talking about nested try blocks. Tell me, what's the answer? Okay, what's the answer for nested try block now? If you write a try block within a try block, then it is called nested try block. Second point is what? If an exception occurs in inner try block, then what happens? If an exception occurs in inner try block, then it can be handled by
Inner catch block.
Inner cache block or
outer
outer cache block. Next, if an exception occurs in outer try block, then
it will handle by
it can be handled by
outer catch block.
it can be handled by only
Outer catch block.
cache block. That's what I'm trying to say. This is the complete explanation of inner try cache blocks. Can we write first of all like this, inner try blocks? Can we write a try block in a try block?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can write. This concept is called
Nested try block.
try blocks. Am I clear so far?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now folks, remaining folks, am I clear? Did you understood about so far what I'm explaining and all these things? So today you are getting many questions and deviations, so many things. Okay, so you have to be careful with this example. Let's copy this code. And of course, we'll just decrease the font size. We don't want this much big font. Guys, this is the program code, and I just want to remove the spaces so that guys, am I clear with my code now? Okay. Am I clear with my code now? Now, what's the output of this code? We got output now. Output will write in the next page. We got some output now. We will just copy that output also from this program console. So please go through this. You will come to know what is the output we got and all. Guys, this is the example for it. So basically, what's the final thing you learned? Yes, we can write try block inside a try block. If you write a try block inside a try block, then the concept name is called as nested
block.
try blocks. Okay, very good. Now we will go ahead and understand again. Guys, everyone, try to look at. Now I'm talking about. So far we got arithmetic exception. We got array index out of bounds exception or null pointer exception. Or sometimes you will get class not found exception, class not found exception, file not found exception, IO exception, SQL exception. These are some of the checked exception classes. Already I've given hierarchy. Na? Exception class hierarchy is there. In that, one category checked exception classes, other category unchecked exception classes. If you take arithmetic exception, array index out of bounds exception, null pointer exception, number format exception, these are all comes under which category? These are all comes under one category called as unchecked exceptions. Okay. Arithmetic exception, null pointer exception, array index out of bounds exception, these are all comes under another category called as unchecked exceptions. So totally exceptions are two categories or two types, checked exceptions and unchecked exceptions. I told already checked exceptions are known to the compiler. Unchecked exceptions are unknown to the compiler. Checked exceptions, suppose at the time of compiling the code, the compiler, if identifies that any checked exception is going to occur, then compiler will see whether the programmer is handling the exception by writing try catch blocks or at least propagating the exception with throws. Propagating means throws. I'll tell you throws, two keywords are there. We have not yet discussed about throw and throws. Am I clear with you guys?
Yes, sir.
Good. I'll tell you. So if not done, compiler will generate error. That is called checked exception. Unchecked exceptions means compiler doesn't check whether programmer is handling the exception here or propagating the exception. It doesn't check anything like that. That's why it is called unchecked exception by the compiler. One is checked exception by the compiler. Next one is unchecked exception by the compiler. That's why checked exceptions are there and unchecked exceptions are there. Two categories are there. But okay, if you take arithmetic exception, if you take a null pointer exception, if you take array index out of bounds exception, or if you take a file not found exception, anything, these are all interfaces or classes?
Classes.
Classes.
These are all
Classes.
interfaces or classes?
Classes.
These are all classes. Because we know exceptions are all classes. We don't have any interfaces in exceptions. Who is the superclass for all exception classes?
Exception.
Exception class. Even for exception class also, who is a base class? Who is the base class for
Throwable.
exception class?
Checked and checked.
Throwable.
No.
Throw.
I'm asking.
Throwable.
Who,
Throwable.
yes, exactly.
Throwable.
Throwable.
Yes.
Throw base class means super class. Na? Who is a
Yeah,
super class?
super class.
Throwable only. Na?
Yeah. Yes.
Throwable.
So you are good now. Throwable. Very good. But tell me, so far, whatever the class names you know, let's say you know the class name called arithmetic exception. You know the other class name called a null pointer exception. And you also know the other class name called as array index out of bounds exception. You know, these are all different class names you know, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I have a question. Question is, these are all guys, I won't tell you. Whatever I'm saying is, these are all, whatever the names I told you just now, these are all predefined classes, na?
Yes.
Predefined classes, I mean, already given by the
JVM.
Java programming language. These are all called predefined classes, no?
Hmm.
Suppose if you have a doubt, I want to ask a question. String, we know string buffer. Tell me string class. String is a class or interface?
Class.
Class.
String is a class or an interface?
Class.
Class. String buffer is a class or an interface?
Class.
Which
Class.
in
Yes, it's a class only, no?
yes.
Okay. Tell me these string class or string buffer class are user-defined classes or predefined classes?
Predefined classes.
Predefined. Predefined meaning
Inbuilt. It means
already given by the language,
language.
our Java language. Okay. But when we are writing class A, class B extends class A, when you are writing class A, class B, tell me these class A and class B are predefined classes or user-defined
User-
classes?
User defined.
Exactly. These are all user-defined classes. Exactly. These are all user-defined classes. So am I clear with you so far?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Similarly, arithmetic exception, null pointer exception, these are all what?
Predefined.
Predefined exception classes. Predefined exception classes. Okay. Similarly, in a project, sometimes we also need user-defined exception classes.
Yes.
We also need what? User-defined exception classes. Everybody, are you getting my point?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay, good. Definitely we need user-defined exception classes. Say, for example, you are creating a class called as bank account. In that, there is a method called withdraw. And for example, if a customer is trying to withdraw more than his balance, then we want to throw an exception,
Yes.
right? It is a runtime error because he is giving, I want to withdraw 15,000, but his account has 10,000 only balance. This is a runtime error.
Yes.
Now tell me, runtime error is called exception.
Yes.
Then we want to throw an exception, that invalid balance exception. Did you get my point?
Yes.
Or insufficient balance exception.
Sufficient.
Anything. Tell me, insufficient balance exception is a predefined exception or it's a user-defined exception class?
User-defined exception.
User-defined exception class means like predefined exception classes in Java. In our Java projects, we also need
User-defined exception classes.
user-defined exception classes. So let's start with that concept. What's the concept? After discussing user-defined exception class, it's a very simple one. After discussing how to write or how to create user-defined exception classes, then next we will discuss about a concept called as throw and throws keywords. Because so far we discussed about 3 keywords out of 5.
Try catch finally.
Out of 5, 3 keywords we discussed. What are the 3?
Try, catch, and
Try,
finally.
catch,
Try block,
Catch
catch block,
finally.
finally block. 3. But we have not discussed about 2 more. What are the 2 more?
Throw
Throws
and
and
throws.
throws.
Throw and throws.
Throws.
Throw and throws. Totally 5 keywords are there. Try, catch, finally, throw, throws. Okay. Out of 5, 3 we discussed. 2 more are there. That we'll discuss after discussing how to create user-defined exceptions. Am I clear with you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's see, guys. Our point is now how to create user-defined exception classes. How to create user-defined exception classes. Am I clear with you? Guys, how to create user-defined exception classes. Everyone in online, guys, did you understood now? Now, okay. I just want to introduce something today, but I'll talk more on this in the further session on Monday. But I want to tell you at least today how to create. 2 ways are there. There are 2 ways now, guys. One way. How many ways are there? There are
2 ways.
Yes, there are two ways. There are two ways. Number one, by extending exception class. Second way, by extending runtime exception class. Guys, how many ways are there?
Two way.
Two ways. What are the two ways? By extending
Exception class.
exception class. Second way is by extending
Runtime exception.
runtime exception class. Two ways are there. Okay, for example, okay, I'll talk more on this in further class, but just I'm writing, for example, class is a keyword, sorry, class name, I can hit public also, okay, class name is, let's say, invalid user exception. Okay, leave about some name I'm writing. Invalid user exception extends exception. What to write, that will list later, but at least try to understand the class. Ignore all. Okay, class. Let me write. Okay, let me write, for example, something doesn't matter. I'm writing some class in that, don't worry. Okay. I want to say something called as order expired exception. Extends exception. Extends runtime exception. What to write inside and all that I will talk in the next class. But just understand, can we create user defined exception classes? Yes. How can you create?
Through by extending.
There are two ways.
Exception
Two
classes.
ways. One way is by extending
Exception classes.
exception class. Other way is by extending
Runtime
exception.
runtime exception class. By extending runtime exception class. In how many ways we can do it?
Two ways.
That's it for today, guys. I'll share the notes with you and you people can go through it. And on Monday, we will discuss more in detail and we will complete exception handling concept with example on Monday.
Then
Okay. On Monday, we will complete the exception handling topic.
Then thread will be started or anything.
No, thread we will discuss after Java 8 because threads we will create nowadays using Java 8 features.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay, then we'll start with the generics collections like that. First, we'll complete exceptions. Okay.
Okay.
Our plan is what? On Monday, we want to complete the exception handling. Once exception handling is completed on Monday, or maybe Tuesday for half of the class, for example, then we will start with the generics concept. Once a generics is discussed, generics doesn't take much time. It will be just a half an hour or 1 hour class. Once you got to know